What is going on, everybody? It's your boy PTK Blam back in the building with another episode of the Shop Podcast. How is everybody doing this week, man? We are back. Sorry, I know I missed last week. We missed last week. I wasn't feeling well. Your boy was feeling down in the dumps. I feel a lot better this week. Appreciate the support. Everybody that tweeted me, everybody that sent me DMs, text messages. Appreciate the love and support. I am feeling a lot better. So let's go ahead and get on with the show. As you can see, one of the three amigos is missing, but I'm sure he'll fall in here soon. Shout out to Stag. I'm sure he'll be in here at some point. But we do have a phenomenal guest this week, man. Now, if you guys don't remember, he was on this show before, but we had Mother Nature. We had like divine intervention. The tornado literally touched down like a couple miles away from him during the podcast. So he's back this week. Go ahead and give yourself a shout out, Jared. Let everybody know where you from, what's going on with you, where they can find you at, brother.
Well, thanks for having me on again, especially after that catastrophe that happened last time, man. Yeah, I'm definitely happy to be back. I'm an assistant editor over at lordsgaming.net. You can find me on Twitter at @RageVirus_X. I'm a multi-platform gamer. I'm just a very passionate gamer that loves games, and I'm excited to be here and talk with you guys.
Awesome. Well, we appreciate you, man. Once again, go check them out. All of that information is in the link in the description below, man. Appreciate you guys so much. Shout out to everybody here rocking with us. Once again, hit that retweet, that like button on the link. Already posted it on Twitter. Make sure everybody knows the Shop Podcast is live. So let's go ahead and get this thing rocking, man. Let's get started. And as we always do, we start with the poll of the week. Shout out to the almost 300 people that voted on the poll. You guys are amazing. If you don't know, every single Monday, I put up a poll on Twitter. You can follow me. All that information is in the link in the description below. Once again, we always start with the poll of the week. And the poll of the week this week was, with the Xbox event around the corner and excitement building, what game will most likely be the highlight of the show and why? We had essentially three options plus like an other option. 1, Halo Infinite. 2, Fable. 3, Hellblade 2. New IP was the last option. So Halo Infinite, it was a landslide victory for Halo Infinite. So 60% of the people said Halo Infinite was going to be the standout. 17% said Fable. 17% said New IP. And the other 6% said Hellblade 2. So I want to start with you, Jared. Where you at on this, man? Are you with the crowd? Do you think Halo is going to be the highlight of the show? Or which option would you pick and why, brother?
Well, okay, for personal bias, I'm always going to go pick with Hellblade because I just love Hellblade. Okay. So much. But in reality, it's going to be Halo Infinite. That's going to take the show for sure. There's such a focus on Halo right now this time around, even though Xbox could bring some really sweet first-party titles, either new, old, whatever. Halo itself has just a tremendous view from everybody on it right now, and that's where all the focus is. So, yeah, that's what it'll be. It'll be Halo.
Okay. All right. I think Halo is kind of a safe choice. Halo is really because I think we all expect Halo to show very well. Me and Fuzz were talking about it maybe a day or two ago in a party chat, and I expect Halo to melt everybody's face off. I don't know about you, Jared, but maybe that's just me. But I get Halo. It's Christmas to me. Every time we get new Halo information, and this time around, I don't know if you would agree with this, but it definitely feels different this time around. I just get this sense of scale that we've never seen in a Halo. I don't know if you feel the same way about what we've been seeing so far.
No, I absolutely agree because there's a feeling of importance this time around. Halo can never be lackluster, and with Halo 5, I think that was the most lackluster new entry into the Halo franchise that's ever actually probably been a part of the franchise. Nothing major other than increased frames per second was actually, part of Halo 5 and maybe vaulting onto ledges. Yeah. Nothing about that game truly stood out, and it was just kind of more of just, cruising on stream and you're just on cruise control and not exactly sure what to do. This time around, they were kind of forced the hand to change and do something dramatic.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I agree. Once again, I think we're definitely going to see story changes. We're already seeing new characters we've never seen. Hopefully, we see some old characters that we haven't seen in a while. Hopefully, they tie everything up. Now, ultimately, we don't know if this is the last Halo. They're going to tie everything together. There could be more. The whole idea of Halo ever being over is kind of crazy when you think about it. But at some point, there probably is going to be a end to the story. So we'll definitely see. But I think a lot of people in the chat, once again, let us know, everybody watching live, what out of those options, who would you choose and why as well? So let's go ahead and move this on to Centurion. Out of those options, brother, which one did you choose? Did you vote? Why'd you pick it?
Oh man, as much as I want any of the other options to be number one, we all know it's going to be Halo Infinite. You know, Phil Spencer said last year that they wanted to launch Halo Infinite on the Series X when the console launched. So Halo is a big enough franchise to where you're going to have a console launch with it. So I just don't see really what you could use to top that. I mean, it kind of hits. As long as the game is done right, it kind of hits all those check boxes. Good story, check. Characters that everybody knows and loves, check. Multiplayer, check. I mean, it checks a lot of boxes.
Yeah.
So it's almost like the perfect scenario game to launch a console on. And in my opinion, I just feel like I haven't felt this kind of buzz, this kind of energy in a long time when it comes to any kind of a console launch. Especially now, I feel like I haven't had this much buzz and energy towards Halo. I mean, it's kind of reminding me of the 360 days when people were ready to, camp outside a store for some Halo.
Oh man, it's definitely giving me those vibes. Like I said, me and Phil were talking about this the other day, and I put a tweet out there, by the way, on Twitter not too long ago, maybe yesterday, just that saying Halo. It holds a special place in a lot of our hearts, and this time around, man. They're definitely, and I think you hit the nail on the head, Jared. That the importance is where we're at.
Everybody kind of wants to talk trash about Microsoft and their marketing. The coolest thing that I have ever seen. All right, look, I understand Sony's they've wrapped a subway car, and they've put up some amazing billboards. But for me, the coolest thing I ever remember was when Halo 2 was being launched, and you went into a Sam Goody. Good luck on figuring out.
Holy shit, Sam Goody!
You guys have pass right there. What is Goody? I meant like walking into a Sam Goody, and these guys have a full life-size representation of Master Chief up on a rock holding the two guns, just like he is on the cover of Halo 2. And I mean, they had a raffle for this thing when they were done with it, and I mean, like, I want to see marketing like that again. Like, I don't want to see this thing plastered. I want to have a moment to, like, kind of get my cell phone out and take a photo with a full-size Master Chief behind me. Like, have you guys seen the full-size Atriox that's sitting in Microsoft headquarters?
I have.
I've seen pictures.
Dude, I mean, like, honestly, that right there, I think I would, blow some good money to have something like that in my house. That thing looks awesome.
Oh man, that thing is amazing. So I agree. Halo is something special, and like I said before, just to kind of piggyback off of you, Centurion, it's just something about the franchise. I think we all want to see it do well. I think it will do well. I'm not worried about Halo. I just got this feeling. I mean, everything seems to be going the right way. The direction of the brand itself. I just feel like Halo is they're going to tie it together and finally get back to where Halo should be at. Not that it was in a bad spot. Essentially, it just, like Jared said earlier, it just wasn't looked at in the prominence that it normally is. It's a top tier, like Mount Rushmore level game, in my opinion. So
and now to kind of add on to what you're saying, because this is the one thing that makes me wonder in my head is how much of a curve is this game going to be graded on? I don't care what no one says. I don't wear a tinfoil hat. I just know the facts are presented in front of me.
Yeah.
And I already know that this game is going to be microscoped. We're going to have people counting blades of grass. We're going to have people, looking at the ray tracing. We're going to have people counting frames. I mean, like, seriously, like, I'm just saying, like, this thing's going to get pecked to death. And that's the only thing I'm concerned about, because I'm not trying to be a dick in what I'm about to say, but I'm sorry, PlayStation fans, but you don't really have much going for you when it comes to a console. You don't have much going for you when it comes to first-party lineup as a launch. I'm not trying to diss you. This is typical Sony. Sony doesn't have bangers in air quotations when they launch a console. I'm sorry. What'd you guys get with the P4? Knack. So I'm sorry that you don't really have much of anything. And as a result of this, all these PlayStation aficionados that seem to have some clout are going to look at this game with a microscope, and they're going to have to be like, well, if it was on PlayStation, it'd look like this. If it was done by PlayStation Studios, we wouldn't have this. Like, that's the only thing I'm concerned about. Forgive me, not trying to get on a soapbox.
No, it's okay. It's okay. So this is the thing. Ultimately, it's a top tier game. It should be scrutinized. I mean, because we expect greatness from a franchise like Halo. So I want it really to be
scrutinized on an even playing field.
Well, that's
without dudes running around trying to plant a goalpost.
But that's an individual thing. We all know better than that. It's the internet. Like, come on now. You know what I'm saying?
That's the only thing. I'm not talking about people like I'm talking actual media, because we all know that PlayStation does a good job of what is it?
They got a strong brand. They have a huge media presence. A lot of people do favor.
They also have a very large presence when it comes to the kind of money that these companies bring in from their, the marketing and the advertising and stuff. They're reliant on companies like Sony and Xbox and Nintendo keeping them in business. But I will definitely say Sony has done a much better job of kind of appeasing the gaming media, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Let's go ahead.
Oh, what I do?
No, we're good. Sorry.
We're good. It's kind of like lobbying. Like, I'm not trying to relate it, but it's kind of like when you're trying to be the presidential candidate, you're out there kissing babies and shaking hands.
Yeah.
And Sony has done an amazing job of doing this, to where some of these gaming media guys, like Jeff Keighley, would, just jump at the fact any chance they get to kind of put Sony in a positive light.
Well, we'll see. I mean, he is hosting, the event. He is part of what was going on with the showcase. So we'll see. I think he does have a preference, obviously, but I don't think he
has a pro. I think he can keep it professional.
Yeah, no, for sure.
I
think he will.
Oh my God, I feel like we're going down a different thing. But like with Jeff Keighley's last show, I understand Rod Ferguson is no longer with the coalition. But when Rod Ferguson was with the coalition launching Gears 5, I mean, Jeff Keighley, it was like a hurry up, get him on stage and get him off stage. And then when Kojima came out, oh my God, if they could have put a red carpet on stage for Kojima, they would have done it.
Well, that's his man crush, so
that's true. But I'm just saying, like, I would just like to see. I'm just saying, like, I want Jeff Keighley or any gaming media person to have that same enthusiasm and that same opinionation towards Xbox as they would PlayStation, without having to bring personal preference into it.
I think they will. I think Xbox is gonna. At some point it becomes self-evident. So I think that's what Xbox is trying to do. So let's get Fuzz's opinion on that. Just see where you're at, Fuzz. What option did you choose and why, brother?
I'm hurt, man. You didn't put no Forza Motorsport 8? Come on.
I didn't, man. I'm sorry.
I'm kidding. But man, that's a tough one. I mean, you got a whole bunch of like great titles listed here, as well as we already know that there's potential of a new IP coming up. Halo is the tentpole out of the listings. That's a given. So of course it won the survey and stuff, but I don't know if you've let the public know your idea on Fable, but I would say if that came to fruition, Fable would probably like change the whole gaming space as far as if that idea came true type of thing. But as it stands from what we know now, I think not Fable. I think Halo is going to be the thing that gets the most attention, the thing that everybody's going to get excited for. And I think we're going to start getting it ramped up from Monday through Wednesday until, the actual showing day on Thursday. I think we're going to get little leaks, not leaks, but like little tidbits, like either more sound clips or, maybe some more stills or something like that.
Maybe a CGI trailer at some point. They generally do a live action. Halo always gets like a live action commercial or something, like a live action deal. Yeah.
Yeah, so this week coming up is going to be interesting, but I think Halo hands down. But if I don't know if you want to share with the rest of the public your idea, but if that was to happen, yeah, I think Fable would pretty much steal the show at that point. But
Well,
that's a tough one.
no, because I mean, we talked about it pre-show, and I ran it by Jared. I ran it by some children because they hadn't heard that yet. But that potentially could take. What's up, Blue? By the way, shout out to Blue. Just came in the chat. But that would take that Fable announcement from being a big announcement to something we didn't see coming at all. It would take it to a different level. So I don't know if it would usurp Halo. That all depends on what we see from Halo. Because I mean, if Halo does what it's supposed to do, I mean, that's definitely going to be the talk of the show. Like I don't see how it can't be, because it's going to bookend the show at some point. It's going to be either at the beginning or at the end. You don't do Halo in the middle. Has anybody ever recall Halo being shown in the middle of a E3?
No.
Okay. So I just, from my, I don't recall that ever happened. It either begins or ends the show. So ultimately, I think that's why, like you guys said, Halo is a tentpole franchise. It just stands out above the rest. It is what it is at the end of the day. So let's go ahead and keep this thing moving, man. We appreciate everybody coming and watching us. Once again, retweet the link. Let everybody know the Shop podcast is live. We got our boy Jared Eden, Rage Virus, on Twitter. Hit him up, by the way, guys. All the information is in the link in the description below. So let's keep it moving. Next question, next topic. So we got the huge news just out of the blue that Xcloud is actually going to be included with Game Pass at no additional cost. So this is like a two-part question. So I want to ask your opinion on that, Jared. When you heard about that, how'd you feel? What kind of went through your mind at that point? Like where you at on that? As well as there is a additional rumor that maybe the paywall or live gold is coming down. So we'll talk about that as well, Jared. So you can take one at a time, brother. But where you at on just hearing that Xcloud is going to be included with Game Pass and no charge?
Well, honestly, I think that just made the most logical choice. A long time ago, and we were talking to you before the show, where they first announced Xcloud. That was on the live reaction show, and I kind of called out where it would make the most sense if they eventually didn't launch it separately as its own individual service. It would be best to combine it with something else, include like Xbox Game Pass or Xbox Live Gold.
Mm-hmm.
You'd have one big bundle, and here we are a couple of years later, and it's actually happened. And I'm really excited because it's just makes that package even better. Plus, if they took, let's say, the Xbox Live Gold factor out of it, and let's just say you're only really paying for
Game Pass,
Xbox Game Pass, and Xcloud, mostly just Game Pass, then that's a bonus, because then you got Xbox Live Gold that is now free access. So all you're really paying for is for the other two services. And yeah, I don't know, it just makes most sense to me. I'm glad that they're doing this.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And like you said, I think it just makes the most sense, because we talked about this probably 2 or 3 times on separate podcasts, and this is something that we tried to figure out. What were they going to do about this? Are they going to charge any? Is it going to be additional? Is it not? Now that we know it's not going to be additional, Game Pass was already the best value in gaming. Like, bar none. I don't really think there's anything close. But there's nothing else that gives you that entry level value. And then you throw that on top of it at no additional cost. That's crazy. And they already got 10 million subscribers at Game Pass? Something like that, I think.
Yep.
Maybe closer to 15 as we talk right now. So that's growing. Xcloud being included, it's a no-brainer.
Careful spouting off with numbers like that. People will come at you on Twitter, man.
I ain't worried about that, man. I am not worried about that.
You said.
Please. But anyway, at the end of the day, I think this is something that we hoped would happen, and I'm glad. I think we're all glad it happened. So let's go ahead and throw this over to you, Centurion. Get your opinion on when you heard about it, as well as how do you feel about maybe live being removed?
Well, for starters, let's just get it out of the way, because I already know what some of the people are going to try to be saying with this. But if this is the case, eventually, more than likely, I could probably see a price hike at least on Game Pass Ultimate, especially as Xcloud becomes a more of a household name, we'll just say. But I honestly think this is great. Definitely Xbox Live. It's good to see Microsoft has gone more pro-consumer as the years have gone by. And we've all seen, like, we all understand Microsoft was the first ones to start charging for like online accounts and all this other stuff,
Yeah.
things do change. Companies kind of change their stance on that. And so Microsoft has taken this route of being more pro-consumer, and I could really see them kind of lowering the barriers down, especially with the fact that they're wanting to get more people in now on their cell phones using xCloud. And you don't really want to alienate everybody with having, paywalls here, paywalls there. So they are probably more than likely going to streamline the process. I'm definitely excited for the fact that now I can take some of my games with me if I'm in certain situations. I don't always have to pack up my Xbox with me, because there is times I do that. I'll pack up my Xbox if I know I'm going to be somewhere for a while. You want a game, you want to scratch that itch.
Yeah.
But I'm really happy that Microsoft is potentially thinking about lowering these paywalls, because we've always heard that, why is Fortnite on PlayStation free, the Battle Royale anyways. But on Xbox, you have to have a paid account to have to be able to play online on any game, even games that are considered free to play. So it's definitely, it just shows once again that Xbox is listening to its fans if they go about this route. And it is good to see that Microsoft is ready to roll out xCloud. But you know me, one of my friends is downer on TXR, so I got to kind of keep that whole train going. If you have an iOS product and you are wanting to invest in xCloud, I have some bad news. You're going to want to invest into an Android product if xCloud is appealing to you, because this is nothing to do with Microsoft. Apple is kind of putting their foot down on allowing xCloud and how it's going to work on their store. So definitely they've got an uphill battle, because they're definitely being investigated for the EU on some of their stances on their Play Store.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's once again. Yeah. I mean, they do a lot of proprietary stuff over there at Apple. Very, very profitable company.
Well, the big thing that Apple, because with xCloud, if a game is xCloud available on xCloud, we'll just use Gears 5. Gears 5 is available on PC, Xbox, and soon xCloud. That means it will be available anywhere. But the only thing is with Apple is they want to say I buy the game on my Xbox. Well, because I did not buy the game in their ecosystem, I shouldn't be allowed to use the game in their ecosystem, because Apple wants 30% of everything that goes through that store. So basically, they're telling Microsoft that they would want 30% of all purchases that are already existing in your library for you to have access to them on their systems.
Oh man, so yeah, that's crazy. So let's go ahead and throw this over to you, Fuzz. So where you at on this, man? I know we've been talking about this for the last few weeks, probably last few months. Actually. This is something that's come up a couple times here and there on the podcast. So shout out Matt, just popped in here. Shout out Matt, how you doing, brother? Appreciate you. But yeah, Fuzz, where you at on this, man?
I'm really excited. There's still one little worry spot that I have about it, but just having it where it's at no additional charge. Like, I already have Game Pass Ultimate until like January of 2022, and I'm probably going to wind up having it almost until like January of 2023, the way things are going. But in the grand scheme of things, it's ultra consumer friendly. It's above and beyond a way to put a stamp on this whole game streaming thing. I mean, I would hate to be somebody that's either an executive or a key position over at Stadia right now, because the days are counting. I mean, unless they can turn that ship around, which, competition's good. Maybe they'll turn things around and we'll see some real competition from Stadia. I doubt it, because it's Google, but this hands down is going to be the game in town when it comes to gaming on the go. You play on your console, you head off to work or you head off to wherever, and you can continue your game on your phone and whatnot. So I don't know if it's going to hurt productivity across the world, but in the grand scheme of things, I think this is the best thing going right now. Now, as far as Xbox Gold Live, we've all kind of wished or talked about it a bit over the past few years, like Centurion saying, with like paywalls for like Fortnite and stuff. But I don't know. I already know that they've made it harder to find the 12-month subscription for Xbox Live, so I don't know if that's a key sign that it is going away. You can still get the 6-month, and the main thing that they push is the 1 and 3 month deals, but maybe this is just a restructuring of how things go, so that way the PC guys that are like, I don't know why you console plebes are paying for online. Well, now you're paying online too for access to the Netflix of games for PC. So maybe this whole paywall thing for internet in general just goes away. It would be nice. I don't know how that's going to work, because that's a easy revenue stream for them, but it would be great in the overall scheme of things. But the only concern outside of the whole Apple thing, which ever since Steve Jobs died, although even if Steve Jobs was here, I don't think anything would be different. But ever since, I've just hated Apple. It's just been a constant downhill to be a cash machine, which is great for shareholders and stuff. But outside of that, product wise, it's just like, oh, we'll just do more research and steal.
Be careful saying that. Them Apple fans are rabid, man.
I used to be an Apple fan. I had a MacBook Pro, an actual what do you call them, a Mac Pro, a couple of iMacs. I don't think there's many Apple fans that have more Apple products in their house than I do right now. But my last major Apple purchase was my phone last Christmas, and then I only got an iPhone 8 just because I'm done with them. But anyway, the only worry spot outside of the whole iOS and Gamepass thing is the games I own outside of Game Pass. I know that's going to be something it's not a Microsoft issue. It's going to be down to it's going to come up to what the devs want when it comes to the licensing. Like, I have a good bit of games that are not in Game Pass. Like, for a while there are a lot of the games I was buying wound up eventually in Game Pass. But with the ones that aren't in Game Pass, am I still going to be able to allow to stream it? Unless, I guess the only workaround would be at that point to just have it streamed from my console. But they probably need to just give us a little bit more details on that. But outside of that, it's the best thing going. And with it being available in so many countries now, man, I can only imagine how much market share they're going to grow in Japan now, with that region being more of a mobile gaming mecca. It's going to now have access to a lot of these games in a subscription service, which they probably already have solutions out there for that currently. But having this particular one that's, I would say, probably reasonably priced and very consumer friendly, it's definitely going to be a benefit to both ends, as far as the gamers out there as well as Xbox itself. So that's all I got on it.
All right. Well, no. Once again, man, great way to wrap that up, man. Great topic. It's definitely going to be interesting to see coming up how things change, with everything going on with all the companies, and then Xcloud being additional, and seeing how that's going to take off and how that's going to do. So let's keep it moving. Shout out to everybody watching us right now live. We appreciate the love and support. Man, thank you guys, man. Once again, retweet that link. Let everybody know the Shop Podcast is live. So let's go ahead and move on to the next topic. Next topic, we are talking Sony doubling PS5 production. Now, it's not a glamorous topic. I was debating about this one. I don't mind talking about Sony, so don't get it messed up. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying that I don't know. This seems something. It seems pretty typical. Like, it makes sense. Sony's a strong brand. I think they're because they haven't had much as far as up until Last of Us 2 came out in Ghost of Tsushima. They haven't really had any events or anything like that. I mean, Sony fans do buy. They do buy games. They support the console. So I don't think it's atypical for them to be doubling production. So where you at on that, Jared? Had you heard about it? Just kind of where you at on that?
Yeah, I definitely have heard about it and read up a little bit about it as well. So my thoughts on it are basically, originally they planned for a certain amount just because the world was in quite a hectic state with a certain thing going around. And now that most of the world has actually calmed down now and things are starting to set aside, except for one major place, they kind of relooked at their outlook, and we were like, okay, well, now maybe we can look at a better financial outlook for the next fiscal year for the next generation launch. So they probably went from like, okay, well, now we can go from 5 to 9 million consoles for output and hope for maybe a little bit better sales wise, because as I mentioned, like things are starting to calm down now after, the T virus floating around sort of thing, right? But yeah, I think it's just an active or reaction for business.
Got it. And that makes sense. Like you said, maybe things are loosening up a bit. They do see supply chains being a little healthier, being able to ship more consoles. Because like I said, ultimately, I'm not going to sit up here and lie. That's what I don't do on the podcast. Sony fans do buy games. They do buy consoles. They do support the brand. So absolutely nothing wrong with that. So let's go ahead and throw this over to you, Centurion. I do anticipate you having a strong opinion about this. Soapbox not included.
Am I the crazy Xbox guy? I was never wanted to be. I told myself day one getting into pot, I don't want to be the crazy Xbox guy, but I guess I am. No.
I thought I was one.
Oh no, you're good. You're good. Go ahead.
I'm not against them stepping up production. I'm glad that they are, because I was actually relatively concerned that they were going to limit their production. They're like, I'm sorry, whether people want to admit it or not. Sony is one of those companies that can be extremely arrogant, and heck yeah, they'd be like, oh yeah, we're going to just release them in limited supply. It's a Sony product, people will wait for it if they truly want it. But another thing, the main reason that popped in my head on why they're doubling production is, I don't know if you guys see some of the stuff that pops up on Twitter, but even I'm showing things on the side. And from what I've seen, Microsoft has actually been producing units compared to Sony like 2 to 1.
I don't know. I haven't followed along.
At least some of the stuff that I've seen, that Microsoft has been very aggressive in not only buying these production facilities up, that they were paying these production facilities so well that they didn't even want to kind of like stress their production in any way and off-put Microsoft. They basically said that there was just way too much money on the line for them to try to attempt to make more units for Sony, because they didn't want to upset Microsoft.
It was more so clogging the lines up. That's kind of what Microsoft aimed for. It wasn't the money aspect, but they just wanted to pump out as much as early as possible is what they wanted to do.
And now here's the other thing too, is they also had a lot of money wrapped up in the materials to build the consoles. So a lot of these companies were also saying that PlayStation was behind on sourcing the materials because Microsoft came in and bought everything up. And so now that the production world is getting back together, these companies are allowing people to start going back to work. They're starting to make products again. And so definitely we're going to see PlayStation probably start ramping up production as much as they can, because these products are now becoming available. And I'm pretty sure that maybe some of these facilities have eased up on their production because maybe they are fulfilling the numbers that Microsoft wants. And now they know that they can fulfill some more numbers for Sony. But it is good to hear that both of these companies are investing a lot of money into making sure that these products are going to be as available as humanly possible.
Yeah.
But here, did you hear how much this thing weighs, by the way? The PS5?
Yeah, I heard about it.
It weighs twice the weight of a PS4.
Well, we'll have to see about that. Let's keep it moving. Smooth voice, Belvedere, smooth voice. Mr. Fuzzy Belvedere. But go ahead, yeah, sir. It's on you, Fuzz. Where you at on this, man? What do you think about them doubling production? Is it just a reactionary, like Jared said? It's just they just anticipated a certain amount and then they're getting larger numbers than that?
I don't know, but I do want to start off with my incorrect prediction that the PlayStation 5 would be delayed. So yeah, I can admit when I'm wrong with things, but I will go ahead and make another prediction that the digital edition is going to be hard to come by, because I'm wondering how they're going to do this double production. If it's going to be like 50-50, 50% of them are going to be the digital edition, 50% are going to be the disc edition. My gut's telling me it's going to be more like 70-30. 70% of the disc edition and 30% of the digital edition, because let's just go with the random, prediction of the digital edition is going to be a lower price item. They're going to make less money, if not take a small loss on that one, but they make it up on the back end with you being stuck to their store. And then they'll go ahead and make the profit off of the disc edition, which those will probably sit on the shelf at $550, $600 versus the other one being probably $400 or $450. And if you want a digital edition, I suggest you hurry up and get it as soon as possible, or pre-order it, or whatever you got to do. If you want the disc edition, I think they'll be easy to come by. But it's good to hear that they're going to make enough of them for probably most of us that are enthusiasts. They're going to pick it up, like day one or within, the holiday stretch. But man, it is. I don't know. I want the disc one only because I have a handful of PlayStation 4 games that are on disc that, since I didn't get the Pro, I want to be able to play on the PS5. Hopefully that all works out without me having to rebuy anything.
Yeah.
But it's great that they're at least going to try to cover, what's going to be the immediate demand and then some for the holidays. But reactionary, I think they're better off just making as many as they can, trying to get that price per unit cost down a bit, get as many of them in people's hands, so that way, those that are willing to convert right over from the PS4 to the 5, take care of them right away and get them locked in for the, that coming generation. But I look at it as good news. Makes it easier for me to worry about getting one now.
Okay. No, cool. No, and like you said, I think ultimately, just like Centurion said, that's a good thing. To see a healthy supply chain.
Can I say something though?
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. Like, I like Fuzzy's idea on saying that there's going to be more of the disc versions than the disc list, but also at the same time in my head, I'm not sure, because we saw PlayStation try to not launch Last of Us 2 supposedly because of supply issues.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of these companies have seen the limitation of trying to push physical media. Stores are now more and more pulling back more physical media off of their shelves. And I've seen PlayStation take away the ability for companies to issue digital codes. It just seems like PlayStation would prefer for you to be more engaged in their network digitally, just because you technically you keep more money in your ecosystem when you're buying games digitally. So
True.
I don't know. There is a part of me that thinks that PlayStation might actually make a huge push to get people to basically make this digital switch. And because it's kind of funny. PlayStation has always been that company that tries to do everything it can to get you to put that credit card number in the machine, but they're also the worst machine to put your credit card number into.
True.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, ultimately, like we said earlier, like Jared, like you said, Centurion, like Fuzz said, this is something that, I guess you essentially could have been predicted. Maybe just numbers got better, pre-orders got better, the projections got better.
I just feel like when it comes to the whole digital thing, like now it's like, I feel like this whole virus situation really changed a lot of people's opinions on, do I really want to go to the store and be around a bunch of people and pick up a physical copy of a game when I could just get it here safely in the convenience of my own home?
Yeah. No, there's that too. There's the real world element to that too, of just that being a safer way to purchase rather than going out and getting physical copies.
I knew it was an uphill battle for physical versus digital. I feel like this whole C19 situation has basically kind of helped tip the scales towards the digital's favor.
Yeah, I would agree. We're seeing all kind of crazy record sale numbers with consoles and accessories, and so I'm not surprised at all. So let's keep this thing moving. We're probably gonna have time to take a bonus question, so that'll be fun too, because I already know what the bonus question is gonna be if we finish a bit early. But we're gonna talk about something that that did get revised. So I don't want you guys to kill me in the comment section. By the way, leave a comment on the video. Appreciate everybody here watching this live. Make sure you retweet that link, let everybody know Shop Podcast is live. So we're talking a little bit Far Cry 6. So they originally put out a tweet stating that Far Cry 6 was only going to be 4K on the Xbox One X, I assume. But they said Xbox One and then Series X only. That has been revised to, they know it's going to still be 4K on Xbox One X and Series X, but they don't know about any other platform at this particular time. So were you guys on that? I mean, I know it was something that came out and everybody was like, what the heck? Because I've never heard of like that. That sounded crazy to me. Like if it's capable, if the One X is capable of doing it, the PS5 should be. You know, but for them to not have the information on the PS5 is kind of odd. So where you at on that, Jared? Did you hear about that?
Yeah. I feel it's kind of odd too, honestly, because if your machine is capable, there's no reason hiding the fact that if it can do 4K, show that it can do 4K and say, hey, the PS4 Pro or PS5 can do 4K, or even, hell, if you even really want to, just tout even 1440p, something upwards of that's not 1080p standard HD sort of thing, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, I definitely think it's a little odd, and there are stuff. From my understanding of a lot of the technology in these next-gen consoles between the PS5 and the Series X, there are some things about the PS5 that don't exactly make sense to me, and I'm still curious as to exactly what is underneath that hood, because I've always felt for a long time that they say it's custom RDNA 2 based GPU on the PS5, which is very true, but it's not like RDNA 2 mixed with RDNA 3 like a lot of these PlayStation insiders like to try to tout. It's more than likely a mix of RDNA 1 with RDNA 2 capabilities. But my computer right now, my graphics card is a 5600 XT GPU from AMD, and it's an RDNA 1 card. My computer basically is on par spec-wise with the PS5. It doesn't have a custom architecture or as insane of an SSD speed or whatnot, but at the same time, tech-wise, spec-wise, it's kind of the same. So I'm very curious if it's going to be like this for the PS5 as a final spec, if it's more so like my PC, or if this is more so of they just don't want to talk about it yet. They still have more to talk about the PS5, and there's still capable things that PS5 can do, because on the PS5 page, they do have now, it's on the mobile version on Amazon, they do talk about how it can do 8K, how it can do 120 FPS on certain games, how it can do HDR and ray tracing on games and stuff like that too. So you're not publicly seeing that on a lot of titles that PlayStation is putting out right now, and that they're supporting, especially with the PS5 itself being able to do that itself. So there's still, I feel, going to be a time where probably in August there's going to be state of play where we're still going to see more PlayStation first-party games and more information about the PS5 itself when they give the actual reveal date and the price and the capabilities of what the PS5 can fully actually do. I know we've had the Mark Cerny tech dive. I know we've had the Unreal Engine tech demo. I know there's all of this, the stuff has been out and about for information and whatnot, but people still need to keep in mind, we do not know everything about the PS5 or the Series X just yet.
I agree. So that was a great answer to the topic, man. It's such a hard thing to say at this particular point. Just because we don't,
variables.
We don't know. But it was odd though. Like when I first thought, I'm like, that doesn't make any sense. Like, and I'm not the biggest, you know me, I'm not the biggest tech guy. Everybody here watching, we watch more than once. I'm not the biggest tech guy, but even in my, small tech-minded self, it didn't make any sense to me. I'm like, that doesn't mean the PS5 should be more than capable. It is just odd that they're not saying, maybe they're, like you said, there's something that the PS5 can do that the Xbox can't. There could be something along those lines. So they're just not ready to talk about it as of yet. So let's go ahead and throw this over to you, Centurion. Where you at on this, brother? When you first saw it, and even a revised tweet basically saying, hey, look, we're still the same on Xbox and Series X, but we're just not, we can't say anything about the other platforms. Where you at on that?
All right, so I wanted to hop in so bad, but you know me. So it's like, okay,
wait your turn.
This is the thing. So I know there's a lot to be left to be discovered when it comes to the PS5, but there's also a lot that is left to be understood. They have actually revealed a lot more than people understand. And I'm not trying to say anybody's naive, but you know, when you hear Mark Cerny, blah, 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 hardware this, blah, 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 compute units, float units, all this other stuff, you kind of zone out. Me, I kind of love listening to this stuff and learning about it. So the Series X is a console that has been fully optimized, and everything about that console has pretty much set speeds, from the SSD drive to the CPU to the GPU to the RAM. It's basically an optimized systems. You know what you have, you know what you can do, and it is a very efficient, very high horsepower machine, like any well put together engine. Now, the PlayStation 5 is a very wonderful piece of technology because of what I'm about to describe. But because of what I'm about to describe, it's also complicated. And this is where the tweet, when I saw this, it actually clarified 4K Ultra. When you say 4K Ultra, that is not 1440. That is 2160. That is full-blown 4K native.
I thought about that too.
And that's one thing. Like, they're gonna hit 4K. But I think they're not going to hit total frames where it's going to be considered 4K Ultra. And the reason being is the PlayStation 5 has an architecture that basically it's basically variable speeds. When you say variable, it just basically depends on what you do with the machine. So if by some chance Far Cry 6 is a very heavily latent CPU kind of game, it's actually going to borrow power from the GPU to power the CPU, and vice versa. If you want to make a game that looks like liquid eye candy that melts your face off, you put more power into the GPU, and then you do the CPU, which is why they're touting all this stuff like, oh, 8K, 120 frames a second. Well, we all saw the Epic Games engine. It was a chick running down a canyon, a corridor. Very limited CPU. That game had barely any draw on the CPU. I probably more than likely bet. And they put a lot more power into the GPU so that way it looked like eye candy. And that is how the PlayStation actually kind of works, is you can put more power over here and take power from over there. It's not like locked in. That's why they have a boost mode. And so because of all these variables, I'm pretty sure there's some confusion even with Ubisoft on like, how is this game truly going to function in the ecosystem? Like, basically all of a sudden we have a bunch of AI on the screen and the CPU takes more power from the GPU and it drops everything. Like and that's where you kind of see the unoptimization of the PS5 starting to pop out. And it's just the little things like heat can actually affect an SSD. That's actually one of the reasons why I think PlayStation is actually built the way it is because of the amount of heat that's going to affect an SSD. When an SSD gets hot, it actually does start slowing itself so it doesn't burn up. It throttles down. Xbox has come out and said that they have actually made a cooling solution to make sure that their SSD runs at an optimized speed consistently. They don't have to worry about the SSD ever getting too hot because they have made a cooling solution for that. I have heard PlayStation say nothing about that. So even though they have this hopped up SSD, when this thing gets hot, is it going to be able to keep up at the speeds that they're touting? So this is like one of those things when it comes to PlayStation. I'm just amazed at, what they're saying, and everybody's like, oh my God, this thing's going to be so amazing. And it's just like, well, I don't know. It's actually created a problem for developers because now they have to decide where to put power and where to take power.
Okay. All right.
I know that was like kind of like one of those things where whatever, I know like for Far Cry 6, that's what I thought when I saw that tweet was, I don't think Ubisoft truly knows what this game is going to do on the console because the console is just built with so many variables in it, and that they can stand behind what it's going to do on the Series X.
Okay, and once again, that's barely. That's simple. That's what I first thought. I'm like, wait a minute, because that we know the machine is capable of doing it. We don't know to what degree. So it could just be a wording thing. If it's
I
true,
could see it being one of those things where it's probably a couple pixels short of being a true 4K image. In certain situations when there's probably a lot of AI or something going on the screen that is going to require a lot of computing.
Yeah. So no, once again, let's go ahead and throw this over to you then, Fuzz. Get your opinion on where you at on this, man, and just when you first saw it, and then, obviously we got the revision. So where are you at? When you heard about it?
I kind of get this PS3 vibe, and let me explain. I didn't own Xbox until mid 2014 when they took the Kinect out of box. So I came from PS1, went to PC, then came back to PS3 because they were touting there was going to be next generation graphics back then. Well, I kind of get this vibe with the PS5 with this whole variable thing that when I saw that tweet, it made me wonder. And I didn't really want to talk about it because whenever you have a variable, setting for the GPU will be in like boost mode or the CPU will be in boost mode or it'll draw from the other one from the other. I don't think that's what devs like to deal with. They like to deal with consistency, like Centurion was just saying, like Jared was saying. It's one of those things where what the calculations are going to be at that point. So you can build the game and optimize it for those set parameters. If you're going to have something that's variable at that point, then you're going to probably try to play it safe. I mean, yes, we kind of know the whole Anthem thing where it was supposedly bricking consoles. That wasn't really necessarily true. Maybe the person just didn't have proper airflow wherever they were storing their PS4 or PS4 Pro. But if you're going to have it where this thing is going to have a fluctuating, speed, and you have to worry about the SSD as far as possibly that overheating and things along those lines, some of the devs might just say, you know what, we're not going to push this thing to the full 4K. We might just do checkerboard rendering. So it might be, something between 1440 and 1800p type of deal. That's what came to my mind. I'm not as savvy as Centurion, but when I built the PCs for my boys and stuff, I went with a what do you call them, a GTX 1660 Super, because that was going to be the best for 1080p 60 gaming with a lot of headroom to even bump up to 1440 and so forth. But I just get this feeling that devs and we always say, they always optimize to the lowest common denominator. Well, I think when it comes to PlayStation, a lot of them are going to probably try to play it safe. Is it going to be an overheating issue or possibly overheating issue to the point where it slows things down that they don't want to really bother with and have it where their game isn't properly running on that particular one? Or are they going to scale things back just a slight smidgen so that way it's more consistent? So if the X Series X is somewhere upwards of 75 frames or better, and they have to go ahead and just do a full lock on the PS5 so that way it's more consistent, then I see them doing stuff like that. So as far as 4K Ultra versus 4K type of thing, I think some devs are just going to possibly play the safe route, not push the limits to what it would be in boost mode as opposed to its normal operating range. So that's just my take on it. I think we might see more games that make similar claims and then have to, go into further detail or amend them a bit. But I think just like people had issues or devs had issues with optimizing things for the PS3, I somehow see, other than first party, obviously, some devs having issue with optimizing on the PS5.
Yeah,
but that's just my take before the generation even starts.
Yeah,
so we'll see how it goes.
Okay. No. Once again, everybody, it's not just we're talking here, but let us know in the chat as well what you guys think about what we're talking about, and that Far Cry 6 tweet, and it caught me off guard, and I was like, that doesn't make any sense. So hopefully we get some clarification on that, because obviously it's a multi-plat, so it's on everything. So if the machine is capable, hopefully we get clarification as on what that'll be, even if it may not be full true 4K, which is completely fine to me. So let's go ahead and just move on to a bonus topic. So we ended a little early. We ran out of topics that I already had set aside. So we are going to do some showcase stuff. We're going to talk about showcase just a little bit here about the July showcase and just give our final predictions on the show before we wrap things up here. Shout out to everybody.
I don't get to highlight my singing voice.
Oh, yeah. No, we're not doing that. I will pull the plug on the show.
It's like, yeah, no, offline.
Nope. Yeah, offline quickly. No, just playing. No, but yeah, we're gonna do some final predictions. Final predictions. Now, I'm sure you may see an article from Jared next week. He's gonna have a lot to write about, I assume. Shout out to Lords of Gaming. Shout out to Cognito, David, everybody over there. Those are my guys, man. You guys go check them out. All the information's in the link below. But final predictions, Jared. Just throw it out there. Spill the beans, bro. What do you get next week?
Okay. So we're definitely going to be seeing Halo Infinite gameplay and whatnot. There's something very special about the multiplayer for Halo Infinite that everybody is going to be extremely excited about and very surprised about, and I can't wait for everybody to find out. So that's going to be very interesting. We're going to see Hellblade. We're going to see Fable. We're not going to see Perfect Dark. We're going to see Compulsion games there. We're going to see more probably of the Medium, Scorn. What else are there? We're going to be seeing a bunch of stuff.
Don't forget there's a hour-long pre-show as well.
Exactly. So, I got to take a bunch of stuff into consideration. We're going to probably see more Psychonauts 2. We're going to probably see another launch trailer for Wasteland 3. We're probably going to see how Wasteland 3 is going to work on console and Series X. That'll be actually really, really nice. We're probably going to see maybe a little bit of Grounded in the pre-show. We're going to see a bunch of third-party deals for indies and third-party exclusives for Xbox, new ones. Are we
getting anything out of Japan? Are we getting anything?
Yes. Yes. Whether that happens at this show or in August, that is a completely different story. But honestly, there's a lot in the works for Xbox fans, for a lot of things to be excited about and that we're not going to be expecting.
Oh man, see, look, you getting it started, Jared. Oh man, the juice is flowing now, buddy. The juice is yeah. Let's shout out to everybody watching this right now. So it's on you, Centurion, man. Final predictions, man, for next week, bro. I know you said you're going 0 Dark 30 next week because you're not gonna be able to watch it live. But where you at on this final predictions, man?
Final predictions. Oh my gosh.
Feet to the fire, brother.
I know, right? I really don't know how to. Man, Mr. Eden here said it better than any of us. I know he's kind of got inside sources. I mean, he's heard some amazing things. I've heard some amazing things as well. I'm just hyped for the fact that we have an Xbox show. I really hope Xbox knocks this one out of the park. But at the same time, I do need people to always remember, go into these events with your expectations sometimes checked. I understand that Microsoft needs to have an amazing show, but when you're thinking things that would be great but can't happen, I'm just saying keep your expectations at least from going too far over this show. Yes. This is Microsoft first-party studios. Some of these first-party studios are growing and they're kind of trying new things. So we're probably going to see stuff that will appeal to others and not appeal to the us. But hey, this is going to be fun. Like I say, this is a time to celebrate gaming. Microsoft, I feel, is really getting some momentum now with some fans, and it's time to really kind of, I guess, bring back the glory of Xbox.
Look, I'm jumping out the plane without the parachute. Fuck that. No, like man, it. I'm not. No, I'm out of there, bro. I'm already out the plane, bro.
I'm not going to be one of these people though that this is like a make it or break it thing.
No.
Microsoft.
I'm not saying that. No. That's a different energy. I'm not talking about that. I'm just talking about me being excited. We only get this shit every 5 to 10 years. This is not something that happens too often.
Oh yeah.
It's not like a new iPhone or a new Android you get every 12 months.
This is also the first time that backwards compatibility has been pushed as hard as it has. Yeah. This is the first time where consoles are starting to rival PCs.
Yeah.
We are starting to get into a whole nother generation of gaming that is, I hate to say it, but the ways of gaming, the way it was done before now, I'm sorry, but those days are gone. The sacred gardens are going away. And the end of I actually have to agree with Phil Spencer, and it has nothing to do with me being a kiss ass. Exclusives do hurt the consumer in the end. I'm actually going to do a video explaining that eventually, but at the end of the day, consumers are the ones that basically are paying for these exclusives. And Microsoft is a company that's all of a sudden not asking you to pay. And I think a couple people aren't used to that. And I just see things completely changing. And regretfully, some people are going to be a little sore over how things are done coming in the future.
Well, ultimately, so my thing is variety is the spice of life. And
yes.
I just think that as long as they have a good variety, which I know they're going to have because they've already shown quite a bit of variety. They got an hour-long pre-show, which I didn't know, and I had to even revise. By the way, we are doing it. Everybody watching live, come check us out next Thursday. We're going to be early. I think 7. We got to be on right first, 7:30.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be when we're in that specific time. You got to do the math where you're at, but we're going to be on early. So come check us out. We're going to be doing a live reaction to the show. Come check us out. It's going to be real fun. So we're going to have a good time. But either way, I'm excited about this shit, Fuzz. Where you at? Live final predictions, Fuzz. Where you at?
All right. Now, once again, I don't have any insider info. I just do like what I do in my industry as far as automotive and kind of read the tea leaves from tweets from as far back as 2 years ago. I think we're getting Ninja Gaiden or something from the same guy that produced the original one. Because I remember seeing a tweet when Phil was starting to do his trips to Japan. There was something like, oh, he would love to do another game or something along those lines. That was like almost a year and a half, 2 years ago. So I expect to see possibly something from that, communication. I expect to see Obsidian's game Stormlands finally make it to this next generation. Like it was supposed to be a launch title for the Xbox One. And, the hardware, one, couldn't handle it. And two, the timing of trying to get that as a launch title just wasn't going to work. I don't think the pitch kind of stuck the way they had hoped. But I think now that they're in the fold and they have a lot more wherewithal and the hardware is much more capable, I think that next one, their RPG is going to be Stormlands. At least one that will be coming before a part 2 of Outer Worlds. Now we might wind up getting DLC for that, but I think their next RPG is that. I'm under the impression that Rare is probably going to have another small game. Like they already have Sea of Thieves. We already saw Everwild.
Yep.
I think they're probably going to have a small like pet project type of thing that's not going to be online or like a services thing. Maybe it might be a callback to some of the style of Rare games from in the past.
Mm-hmm.
But I kind of see something like that happening.
Everwild is interesting as well too because I know some people are saying because of the art style it gives them the Breath of the Wild kind of vibes because of the art style, that kind of paintbrush. But I don't know what we're gonna. Is it an RPG? Is it an action? Is it an adventure game? Like what? Is it Viva Pinata? Like I don't know what.
I kind of view it as an adventure game that can be played solo or co-op, but it'll be more PvE related. And I have a feeling those caves that you explore are going to be kind of like dungeons or like almost like the Dark Zone for the Division, but without the PvP. I think because not everybody likes PvP when it comes to like exploring like they do in Sea of Thieves.
Mm-hmm.
I think they're going to go with something that's a little more open and friendly to those that aren't into competitive PvP type stuff. So I think we'll see almost like a World of Warcraft without the direct player combat. It'll just be more PvE type stuff. And I kind of see that being a theme behind it. I think we might see something about Dead Rising. I know there was a Dead Rising 5 in the works. It kind of got canceled. They closed that studio. Somebody, and I can't remember who it is in the community, had mentioned it. Ooh, maybe Undead Labs might pick up something along those lines, or maybe a collaboration. So
Buzz is going full retard over here.
I was like, wow, he really has some specifics.
I even have a weird specific on the Initiatives game, which I know a lot of people say Joanna Dark. They're a big enough studio now where they might be able to do true projects like a lot of the other studios are doing. Maybe Joanna or Perfect Dark is one of them, but I see them working on something that involves like different dimensions, traveling through mirrors, or something where it's like you're almost like the way you saw the rifts in what was that game, Ratchet and Clank. I think they're going to have something similar, and it's something that they were probably working on without even knowing what Ratchet and Clank was doing. And I think they're going to have something like that where it's going to be instant load times, traveling through dimensions through mirrors or something along those lines. I don't know what makes me say that, other than when what's his name was showing his office once, and he was talking about like taking selfies in front of a mirror or something. I'm like, maybe that's a mechanic. But what else?
Forza.
Well, Forza, I expect Motorsport 8. They might call it something else than Motorsport 8. They'll just call it Forza 8 or Forza World or something. I eventually see that there'll be more of a mix or mesh between Horizon and Motorsport. Like
Did you see Horizon, their list of possible, like, the stuff that was in the game? I'm sure you've seen probably multiple.
Yeah.
It was pretty crazy.
Yeah, if they have it where you can drive to the track like you're in Horizon, and then you get to the actual racetrack and it's a real world racetrack, I think I'm going to lose a lot of time and productivity playing that. But there's so many more things. One of them, or one of the predictions, I know is not going to probably happen until August, because the whole WB thing, I don't expect that will get wrapped up in time. It would be nice.
Oh, we ain't even talked about that.
See, I wanted to add. I wanted to finish up, because I actually wanted to add. What studio do you think Microsoft might even talk about at this show? And I've heard grumblings of a studio from Poland. Yes. It's probably not the one that everybody's going to throw out, but I
think definitely. It is. Well, the
which one do you think it is?
I think it's going to be Bloober, because we're going to see more of Medium. And
yeah.
I think the way they announced that the studio is acquired is we see another like trailer or deeper dive in gameplay, or we see the startup screen and it says Microsoft Studios or Xbox Studios. So I don't think they'll come out and say, oh, by the way, they joined the team. They'll do that little sly way where it's like the startup screen has Xbox Studios or something. I think they're really going to be in the fold.
Yeah, for like a gameplay reveal of the Medium, for sure. And then in Sobo would be my two picks.
I've also seen a little bit on Farm 51.
Yeah, I hear a lot of people bring them up as well.
What did they make? What did Farm 51?
Oh my gosh! Now you're asking me a question. I've heard of them. I know I've played some of their games.
I can't remember the names of their games. I know I have played at least one of their games, but I can't remember.
No. What do they do? Time Ace, Necrovision, Painkiller, Hell and Damnation, Deadfall Adventures, Get Even, World War III, and Chernobylite.
They were outsourced to do the original Witcher
and Two Worlds 2. Yeah.
So definitely not like something like it's not a barn burning name, but still it's one of those. So
I've support studio.
Yeah, I've seen an article that said Farm 51 was bracing because they were they were basically acquired. They were waiting for a new investor to come in.
Oh, I don't.
Yeah, it could be Tencent at this point. You never know.
That's another thing too. Yeah, everybody's getting bought up like crazy. But that's why I just wanted to talk about studios, because it's like, all right, calm down. No, when they say Polish studio, they're not saying CD Projekt Red. Oh my God, calm down. And then WB Studios. Yeah, I want to get people off that cliff. Like, I'm going to tell you right now, there would be I would be shocked if they said anything, even if they were interested, because I know Microsoft doesn't want to create that kind of a stir, but still, but still, no deal can ever be done that quickly. And
not of that size.
No. And that's why it's just like, come on, people. That's why I said lower expectations for this show. Please do not expect Microsoft to come out on stage and show that they have WB games and that they are going to now just start dropping Batman and DC character games and part the gaming seas and just bring all this great content. That's one of those things I was asking people not to put up on a pedestal.
Well, I mean, obviously, like I said, I'm jumping out the plane. I don't give a damn about none of that. But that's just me personally. So I understand where you're coming from, though. obviously you got to keep everything in perspective. I get excited for everybody's show the same way. Like even a Sony show, I'm not as vocal on Twitter about it, but I'm watching.
Here's something to be excited about, man. And because Shansu put it in my chat on my latest video, and for some reason it seems people don't want to say this out loud, but I'm gonna do it. I'm ready to play Grounded. I'm excited to play Grounded. There you go.
What you talking about? I put out a tweet. Come on.
Oh, dude. Oh, no. Dude, like for some reason, it's just like when people talk about Grounded, it's like when you hear like, "Are you gonna play Grounded?" Or are we all whispering?
I didn't get to play the trial, so I'm ready. I'm ready.
I'm gonna play the hell out of that game,
dude.
Man. Don't know what you guys talking about.
Dude, me and my wife have plans to veg out on that game.
Oh, dude, that's what I'm saying. I feel like once me and my wife touch it, bro, it's a wrap. It's gonna be another game that me, Fuzz, are gonna get stuck and wrapped up in, and we're gonna be up late playing it at 3 days a damn week or 3 nights a week at least.
Yeah, I need to get that beetle armor.
That's what I'm saying. Like, come on, bro. We're gonna lose so much time.
People underestimate a good survival game that actually has a good co-op mechanic and
Did you
has
get to
a
play
very
the
interesting.
trial?
I did. Yeah, I got to play during the trial for sure, and I enjoy the hell of it. Like because those are my type of games too. I love a good survival game, and I've actually been desperately looking for one recently. And with my new PC, I've been browsing the Steam store like mad, and I've downloaded and bought a few games, and nothing has really clicked for a good survival that I can enjoy on my own or with a friend, except for Grounded on that stupid tease of 30 minutes, man. Like, the 28th needs to hurry up so I can actually play more than 30 minutes.
Yeah, no, for sure. I'm excited about it, but I mean, Fuzz, I don't know if you were done with your final predictions.
Oh, those are just the tip of the iceberg. I think more will come in August. But yeah, that I think possibly a Ninja Gaiden. I think Stormlands. Those are probably my big, like, no one's talking about type of things that I think are going to make an appearance.
Okay.
I think you should share with the rest of the world the what do you call
What I
them?
was talking so I got to put that out there. So, okay. So for me, I mean, obviously Halo Infinite, that's the big one for me. We're going to see that in all its glory. All this beautiful glory. I'm expecting surprises there, whether it be multiplayer or campaign. I'm expecting just a total blowout for Halo for sure. Now, Fable. So essentially what Fuzz was alluding to was I had this idea of, because people are going to be happy just to get Fable. If we get a Fable, I'll talk about that here in a second as well. People are going to be happy just to get a Fable. How could you take that information or that news and ramp it up a level? I figured with the talent you've been gathering the last year and a half, 2 years, why not rebuild Lionhead from the inside out? And instead of us, because a lot of us have been speculating maybe Playground's doing it, maybe somebody else is doing it. Why not take the talent, get them a studio, say, look, we're just going to slap the Lionhead label on this thing and get a studio head, and that's how you introduce Fable to the masses. You say, here, look, we brought back Lionhead. That's a really, really positive thing. Some people do look at Xbox and say, hey, they don't have the greatest track record with studios, but this is a really positive thing. It will be left field. People's jaws would drop if that Lionhead, like the logo popped up before we got Fable. Like that would be freaking amazing. So I don't know. That was just something that I don't actually think is going to happen, but I think it will be a great way to elevate that part of the show. Forza. Looking forward to that as well. Yes, shout out to Joey, said Fable for sure, brother. I'm excited. Hopefully we do see some. Now, some people are saying Perfect Dark, but I don't even know where that came from. I think it was, I don't know if it was rumors about, I think it was just rumors about the initiative and the type of game they were working on. And like, there were some job listings and they were asking for specific skill sets. So I think people were trying to get, kind of, like you said, reading the tea leaves for us.
Yeah.
But I don't know about Perfect Dark. I mean, I'm not like I'm okay with a Perfect Dark, but I'm okay without one as well. So I do fully expect that they will fill a couple holes in the lineup. I really want something out of Japan. I really want them to get either a third party deal exclusive with somebody to make them a Japanese game, JRPG, or some type of game in that way, or maybe even a studio in Japan. That would be great. I mean, that's unlikely as well, but it could happen. I mean, maybe they've been that aggressive over there. Who knows? Stranger things have happened. So yeah, that's where I'm at. That's where I'm at, man. I think I'm probably missing out on a few things that you guys are gonna blast me for that, but that's pretty much where I'm at on the event next week, man. But today it was a fantastic show, man. We ran a little bit over. We had such a great show. Appreciate you guys' love and support here on the show. Let me get some quick shout outs. Shout out Daz, Blue, Indy, Joe Bailey, everybody. Shown to out of the year. Everybody that was out watching us. Appreciate you guys, man. But yeah, let me go ahead and let everybody on the panel. We'll start with our guests of honor. First of all, brother, I want to say thank you for coming on. We made it through the storm, figuratively, not literally. We made it through the storm figuratively, and I appreciate you being on, man. Hope you had a good time. I had a good time with you being on here, brother. So let everybody know what you got going on. Next week is going to be a shit storm for you, man. I know it is.
I am very busy. My plate already is actually quite busy because I'm playing Ghost of Tsushima, and I got to review that for the website. But I also have a massive Halo article project I've been working on for the past month that I got to get done before the showcase on July 23rd. Plus, once the showcase actually starts, I have to hope that even half the Reddit team shows up so we can cover all the articles and stuff like that, including the pre-show. So I'm going to be at my desk for a long time this week. So where you can find me is you can find me on Twitter at RageVerse_X. You can find all my writing stuff over at lordsgaming.net. And for podcasting, is actually usually around this time. We start 6 p.m. Eastern on Saturday evenings over on the Gaming Perspective. Shout out to my awesome panel. I absolutely love these guys. They are probably some of the best guys I ever talked to games with. Awesome. And I'm very glad to be a part of this podcast. But yeah, shout out to Samuel Tolbert, Nicholas Downey, and Eric Jackson. You guys can all find them on Twitter as well. But yeah, just a wonderful group of guys. And thank you again for having me on. It's always a pleasure to be here. Had a wonderful time.
Appreciate you, man. And once again, all that information for Jared is down in the description below. Go check them out. Shout out to the Lords too, man. They do good work. One of the best podcasts. They just have quality. Everything over there is quality. Go check them out. And I do want to give a quick shout out before I move on to Centurion. Shout out to BG4G Hub. You can check us out there. I didn't put the link in the description. I have to go edit that after the show, but it's BG4GHub.com/the shop podcast. Check us out. We do have our own page there. Shout out to Tom Wild, man, if you're listening, brother. We do got some BG4G brothers in the chat, by the way. Daz is here. I think there was a couple other people. Indy, I believe, is part of BG4G Hub as well. So shout out to those guys, everybody at BG4G Hub. Check them out as well. Once again, go check the website out. Let's go ahead and throw this over to you, Centurion. Let everybody know what's going on with you. I know you next week you're going Zero Dark 30, man. You're going.
Well, I'm going Zero Dark 30 on Thursday. So
well,
you guys are looking for, huh?
Yeah, you better do it a day early.
That's unless there's massive leaks. See,
well, we're not gonna.
See, that's the only thing. And you have my phone number, so I know if anybody truly needs to get a hold of me, they can get a hold of me. So I'm not worried about that. It's just I don't want to have, that whole situation where I flip open Twitter and I want to be amazed by Halo, not to know what I'm expecting out of Halo. Yeah. So definitely thank you for letting me kind of chew your guys' ears off tonight and my excitement over Xbox. I mean, this is Christmas in July, everybody. We have an Xbox event. We're going to see what Xbox has been cooking up with all of their 15 studios. So definitely some of the cards are going to be put on the table, and it's going to be great. For those interested, you can always find me on YouTube at Centurion1307. Just recently dropped a video kind of on my thoughts on what we're going to get out of the show here on the 23rd, and also not really being talked about, but there's 60 games that are also going to be put on the store from the 21st to the 27th, and these are all going to be games that are currently being in development. And I have a theory that that's also going to be using the Xcloud delivery system that these games are going to be available on, but that's a subject for another day. You guys can also find me at Twitter and Xbox Live at Centurion1307. I also sit here and chat with these amazing gentlemen every Saturday night on the Shop Podcast. You can also find me over with all the awesome guys on TXR Podcast every Sunday night. And like you said earlier with BG4GHub.com, I also do articles for them here and there. So if you want to see some more content outside of my videos, I do also write for BG4GHub.com.
Awesome, man. Appreciate you, man. Add so much to the show. Shout out to our brother Stag as well. So yeah, I think if I remember correctly, he did mention that he wasn't going to be on the show today. So appreciate you, brother. Hope all is well. Hopefully we see you next week. I think Stag may be on the live stream. I'm not 100% sure, depending on his sleep schedule, but we'll figure that out throughout the week. I'll let everybody know. I might grab a guest for next week as well. You guys let me know if there's somebody you guys want to see do the live reaction with us. Let me know on Twitter. Follow us there. All the information is below. But Fuzz, Mr. Smooth, velvety, buttery voice, Barry Ross. Let everybody know what's going on with you. What you got cooking? We got videos to do, brother.
Yeah, I definitely want to do a more in-depth pre-show prediction type of thing some point this week, because there was also one thing I forgot to mention. The guy from Devil May Cry Capcom, I think he left for a better opportunity, so who knows if that means he's heading up a studio for Xbox Studios. But anyway, hopefully a video coming this week. I'm doing everything from scratch, so I didn't get a chance to coordinate with Graphic God to get an intro done, but I'm going to put something together, get some stuff out there, also talk about pricing and a few other things in gaming this week. I'm going to be off all week, so yeah, I'm going to be pretty busy between videos and definitely looking forward to this the show on Thursday. And man, these playable demos, that's going to be awesome. But you can find me on Twitter at fuzzy_Belvedere, on PlayStation at fuzzy_Belvedere, or Xbox Live Fuzzy Space Belvedere, as well as I think YouTube is Fuzzy Belvedere, all one word. Most of the time playing Forza, a lot of NASCAR, and definitely a lot of what do you call them? Ghost of Tsushima. So yeah, man, great times we're in as far as gaming is concerned. Everything else, man, 2020 needs to hurry up and end. But anyway, thanks for everybody that came out, and on to you, Blam.
I appreciate it, man. Yeah, last but not least, your boy PTK Blam across the board on Xbox Live. PTK Blam on Twitter is first and last name. Check me out there. All of that information is in the description below. Appreciate the support every single week. Once again, I will update you guys probably Monday or Tuesday about what's going to be happening Thursday. If I'm going to get a guest on the show, I will reach out to some people. If you want to see somebody in particular on the show, let me know. DM me. The DMs are always open if you follow me on Twitter. But yeah, we're doing that, as well as I'm going to get a video up about final prediction as well. So me and Fuzz, my video should be coming sooner. Hopefully Monday, I should be putting that thing out early morning for you guys to watch. So it's been a little while since I've done a standalone video outside of the podcast, but look forward to that, guys. Please go support the channel. I appreciate you guys so much. We're growing, guys. We're growing. Let everybody know about the podcast, man. Let's keep this thing moving, keep it pushing for 2020. It's been a rough year, but, man, we're going to be that shining beacon for you guys in gaming. So enjoy the rest of your weekend. Be safe. Wash your hands. Cover your mouths, everybody. We are out of here. Peace out. Take it easy.
Later.